Hi there, it's Ann from Craft Fantastic, and we are going to be making a Sunny Flowers Fantastic Art Card Kit. And this is one of my favorites. I love this kit. It's really bright and sunny. It's a sunny flower art, fantastic art card kit after all. And one of the things I like about this kit, and I was surprised, is it's the combination of the purple and the yellow and the green. I wouldn't normally have done it, but because there's purple in the flowers, I felt like we could sort of throw the purple in here. And I just love these little seed packets, and it says Hello Sunshine. You have your option for doing birthdays. Here's a happy birthday. And I love this one where it has the happy birthday in the center. And you can purchase this kit at craftfantastic.com and then follow along with this video, and you'll end up with these 5 fabulous cards. And another nice thing about these cards are something that we call the signature gems at Craft Fantastic. And that just lets people know that you have made this by hand. It's just a little way of saying, hey, you know, this is a really special card. I mean, they can tell by looking at it, but it also you know, really says, you know, this is handmade and made with love. So let's get started with our Sunny Flowers Fantastic Art Card Kit. Okay, so we're gonna make card number 1, and I love this card. Actually, I love all the cards. Actually, I love everything that I make. So if I say I love something over and over again, I do. It's true. So okay, so this has these really cute little seed packets. It's got this little embellishment that says Hello Sunshine. Here's our little signature gem, and then wound up with the twine. And so let's get started with card number 1. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut out all your images. And this is for the piece of glass right here, and we're going to choose one. So I'm going to set this aside right now because we'll do that in a minute. So right now, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim out. You want to trim carefully all the way around, and you want to get all the white off. So you're just going to trim, 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 just like that, all the way around. Okay. And I'm going to tell you a little secret about trimming this off. You have the rounded corners on here, and I discovered this. You don't want to try to trim the rounded corners. You want to cut your straight line first, all the way down, right? This is just a little tip. And I just continue going straight. And I'm going to cut this straight line again. And I'm not doing the little curved edges yet. But I'm going to come back in and sort of treat them as a fussy cut. Just, and they get you off course. So I think it's better just to cut the straight lines first. And then, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I say that in all my videos. So I'm just going to come back in and do a little trim around. Here we go. And I'm just going to trim. There we go. Trim that off. There we go. Okay, so now that's trimmed up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use our paper adhesive, and we're going to glue these down onto our cardstock. So I'm going to get a piece of the green, and the sunflower packets are going to go on this cardstock, and a piece of the craft, spelled K-R-A-F rather than C-R-A-F. And it doesn't have to go on straight, because you'll see in a minute that the piece that we're working with, the image, dictates how you're going to trim the cardstock. So the image, you start with the image first, and then you work your way down from the image. And if you're designing your own cards, I highly recommend that you do it this way. So I'm just going to glue that one down right? And I think I'll glue my my little seed packets down as well. Now, if you're into saving paper and using it for different things, collage or whatever, you know, glue it to the edge, but give yourself enough so you can center it around. I had a little bit of the paper adhesive coming up over the edge. I'm just turning that under. You can also trim it off. But I'm just going to hit it right about here, right? And then this one will go here. Okay. So now we're going to trim, and I want to leave about 1/8 of an inch. The smaller the piece, the narrower this little space. Some people like to go really thick, and it doesn't really matter. You can go however thick or thin you want to go. So I'm going a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch, just a hair less. And notice how I'm not trimming those corners yet. I'm going to come back and trim those. Okay, so I'm going to rough cut this out here. And on this one, I do have a little angle, so I'm hitting the angle. Do you see how I come over? So I'm just really picking up on the subtleties of that flap. It's not straight across. We're going to make our little embellishment, our little piece of glass with our little tray. And this is actually meant to be worn as a necklace with a bail on the top. This is called a bail, and B-A-I-L. But we're going to turn it around and use it to hang a little tassel off of. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to make our little piece of glass. And it's super easy, super simple. You're going to be using fantastic glaze and glue, and that's a product that we sell on our website. That some of our customers call it the secret sauce. And when you're doing this, you want to work on a hard, rigid surface. This is a table with just a sheet of paper over it. And you do want to work on scrap paper, right? And this one says Hello Sunshine. And I think on this one that I want to do the happy birthday. So I'm going to take that out. And you want to make sure that you leave a lot of salvage around the edge because you want a place for this glaze and glue to squirt out of. And you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is, and when you're doing this, if you're working with a round piece of glass, you can just squirt a blob in the center. But because I have a square, I'm going to just do a little blob in all 4 corners, because what that does is it carries the glaze and glue all the way behind the glass here. So go ahead, and you want a slightly larger blob in the center. And you want enough on here so that it does not ooze out. So it oozes out the sides, I'm sorry. Because that's what carries the air bubbles away. And I love the graphic. Look at what the glass does to the image. It says, Happy Birthday. And I just love how that looks. And it accentuates the happy birthday. And then I'm just going to come along, and I'm just cleaning up around the edge. And notice how I'm working around the piece rather than moving around the piece. I'm moving the piece around so it's easier to work on. And then at home, I would advise you to let this dry. We're going to cut it here so I can show you how to make the rest of the card. But what I would do is at home, I would definitely let it dry. And notice how I'm clipping the corners, and I'm just coming around here just like this. And I'm trimming all the way around. There we go. I have my fabulous happy birthday. And then I'm going to take one of my super sticky dots. And these are great. We're going to be gluing our ribbon with it. We're going to be gluing our glass pieces. And these really hold. The hardest part is taking the orange liner off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it into the little tray. And I'm just going to peel off. And this is the hard part, is peeling off that little liner. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pop this into my little tray. Make sure that the bail is facing down, right? Because remember, we're putting our little tassel down on the bottom. So you're just gonna take it, you're gonna push on it, and put that into place. So now we have all of our elements here that we're going to put onto our cards. We're gonna do the signature gems later, so we won't be making that right now, but we're gonna take one of our card blanks, and you wanna use your bone folder, and hopefully you all have a bone folder, and you're gonna work on the midpoint here, and bumpy side up. It's sort of counter to what you would think. You would think it would be the other way around, but you want the bump in the center. And I'm just gonna match up the corners of the card, and then I'm just gonna burnish with my bone folder midpoint. If you go like this, you pull it across the paper, and sometimes things get damaged. So you're best off just working midpoint, because that's the least friction against your paper. Now this is our Lux line cards, and we sell them individually on the website and in bulk. But these are great because they are A7, so they're almost 5 by 7. But we make them a little bit smaller so they can slide into the envelope easily, full of your fabulous decorations. I don't know if you've ever made a card and put a lot of things on the front, and then you go to put it in the envelope and you can't get it in. I have. So what we have here is a card that's large enough. This is not a 4 by 6 card. This is not an A4. This is A7. It's nice and large because you can really create your art on this card. And I like a bigger card. So I'm just eyeballing it right now and checking it out to see how that all is fitting together. And I want you to notice this one. And that actually is going to go this way. And you'll see why in a moment. And then our little embellishment is going to go right here. So we're going to use our twine with this. And we're going to use it with the yellow and the green, so just carefully unwind it. And the first thing I want you to do, and I want the one up here, is you're gonna take it, you're gonna put a jeweler's dot or a fantastic sticky dot right on top of the one. And then again, the trick of peeling the liner off. And this stuff really holds. And if you want your card to stay together through the mail, I would strongly recommend that you use it for the glass, anything that's hard, that's rigid, because you need flexibility in the adhesion. And ribbon needs the extra tack. So what I'm doing is I'm just placing it onto the dot, right, the super sticky dot. And I'm just gonna wind around 1, 2, and then 3 times. And then I'm just gonna come back up, just like that. And then I'm gonna end up at that dot and push down on it. So now you've got this bit that's hanging off of here, and we're gonna use that to make our tassel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim this, and I will set this aside because we're gonna use that for our little tassel. Okay, and you can go ahead and adjust this a little bit. It's not gonna be perfect, and each card will be different. So you now have this situation where you have the twine running around the card. And I want you to look at your sides and make sure they're even side to side. And then we're gonna do something called weighting. It's W-E-I-G-H-T-E-D. And what I'm doing is I'm giving it a little more space on the bottom than on the top. And it's an optical illusion. If you center it top and bottom, it's actually gonna look like it's closer to the bottom. So that's a framer's trick. And if you go to a good framer, they will weight your artwork. W-E-I-G-H-T. Okay. So I'm gonna glue this down first using my paper adhesive. And I'm just gonna come along, and you're gonna need to get a lot on here. You could throw some sticky dots on here too, where the twine is if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I think it'll hold okay. Well, actually, I might put a few down. Because there's nothing worse than getting a handmade card that's in pieces from someone who's worked really hard on it and didn't use good adhesive. So I'll show you how this works. You can go like that, and that's going to assure that this is glued down. And I might put one down here. You don't have to put it on every one, but this just will hold. It will hold things in place. Because there's a little bit of dimension that's created on the back here. And I'll do one more. So I'm going to do 4 on the back. Okay. So now the 1 is up here, right? And I'm just going to remember that you're it's going to be even side to side, and it's going to be a little bit higher on the bottom than, not much, just a titch. A little bit higher on the bottom than on the top. And now I'm just going to glue that down. Voila. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing, and actually the yellow daisies or the yellow sunflowers go up here, and they're actually going to be tucked under this piece here a little bit, right? And then this is going to go here, just like this. And this will not be tucked under. So in order to be tucked under, we can't use the puffy dots on the back here. So what we're going to do is we'll use a couple of sticky dots on the bottom. And 3 of the puffy dots. And these are great. These are from our friends at Scrapbook Adhesives, and we sell them online. We're going to be getting black ones in soon, and I'm super excited about that. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully, because I don't want them to glue down, I'm just going to inch this in here, and then glue this down like this. And so this side is now lower than this side. And the reason we use the sticky dots here is they tend sometimes when you're doing this multi-level card, and remember the card has to put up with a lot of wear and tear if it goes through the mail, that sometimes if you just use paper adhesive, it comes off. So now we're just going to, this is the easy part here, we're just going to place our little Shasta daisy here. And I'm just going to put these in the corners. Probably don't need one there. Put one down here, one here, and one here, and one here. And I'll tell you, the super sticky dots are essential from card making, I think, because the adhesive is so strong. And I've made a lot of cards in my lifetime, and I've seen a lot of cards fall apart. Okay, so this is just going to come right about here, just like this. And I think I want to go a little higher up, just like that. There we go. Okay. Super cute. Comes off the edge a little bit. That's important visually. You don't want things to line up because it's not very interesting from a design standpoint. So now we're going to make our little tassel. So remember this little bit of twine we had left? I'm just going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to thread all of this through this tiny little bail here. And I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And you're coming from the top going through to the back. There we go. Okay, so now I've got this loop here on this side, right? This is on the back side. And I'm going to open the loop up, and I'm just pulling everything through. And then I pull it nice and tight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and when I trim these super sticky dots, I'll leave the paper on there because I don't want a bunch of little tiny dots floating around. And actually I could even, if I want to really conserve here, I could take a quarter. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this on the back. And this is going to help hold this. You really don't need it, but it could make a difference. And guess what? You don't need to pull the liner off. You can just leave the liner on. And that's just going to hold everything in place. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I want to glue this down, and I want a little dimension because I want it to sort of overlap. It's going to overlap the card a little bit. And I think I'm going to trim it before I put it on the card. You could trim it after, but I'll trim it. And sometimes I trim a little long, and then I might trim it again, you know, depending on how it ends up on the card. So because I want that extra dimension, I'm going to use a puffy dot. Puffy dot. And I'll just put that in the center. And then I'm going to take it. And remember, you're overlapping a little bit here. And I'm just going to take it right here. Just like that. There we go. And look at how cute that card is. So now all I need to do to complete the card is put the little signature gem on, and I'm going to do that later. So go ahead and set your card aside. All right, so now we're going to do number 2, and this is a lovely card. It's, you know, has this lovely sort of entwined little leaf pattern here, or leaf ribbon, and then the seed packets are sort of stuck underneath, and it's very nice. And then it says "Hello Sunshine." It's a cute card. I like it. All right, so we're going to start with our images for card number 2. So on this one, we are not making any embellishments, glass embellishments. The only glass that's on here is the little signature. So I'm going to cut out all of these, and I have the choice of Hello Sunshine or Happy Birthday, and I think I'll do Happy Birthday on this one because I already have a Hello Sunshine. Just like that. Okay. So now what we've got to do is grab our cardstock, and we're gonna do green on the, and I've got a little left over from the card before, so I'm actually gonna do this, this one on here, because you may end up with an extra card at the end. So let's conserve and see where we end up. And then this is going to go on here, possibly like this, and then we'll put this on here as well, right? And then we've got a fresh green card, and I'm going to do this one right here, just like that. So let's get started here. And again, you're going to use your paper adhesive, and it just goes on. And as I said, I love... And this stuff wasn't around. I mean, when I started, now I don't like the big ones. I prefer the smaller ones. They fit in my hand easier. The big ones, I can't get precise with it. And sometimes when you're gluing, you've got to have a little bit of precision. So I'm just gonna glue that down. And again, it's just 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay. All right, so there we go. We've got all of our little pieces here. And now we're going to grab our blank canvas. And just remember, again, that you want the bump, right, facing up. And I'm going to take my bone folder, or in this case, my plastic folder. And then you just burnish down as hard as you can. And there you have your blank canvas. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to place all of our pieces and just get a good idea of what we're doing generally. So the little white one is going on the top here. The yellow one is on the bottom. And then this happy birthday sort of covers all of them. And you can see a little bit here, a little bit here, and a little bit here. Just keep that in mind. And we're going to use this fun. I love this ribbon. And I use this in a lot of things. It's just great stuff. It's very rough, but that's good because it makes it look like a natural leaf. And what we're basically going to be doing is we're just attaching it to the front, but we want it to be loose so things can go underneath it. Plus, things are always nicer, I think, if they're loose. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to cut off one of the little leaves because we're going to be wrapping this around. Actually, I'm going to cut off two of them because you've got enough ribbon here. And we're going to be wrapping around the back and then gluing that on, right? So go ahead and sort of figure out what your length is. And don't worry about the folded under leaves. We'll take care of that later. So go ahead and look at, okay. So I'm starting here and that's going like this. And so right here, so I'm going to cut off this leaf and this leaf and then trim it to about there. So I'm cutting this leaf off, what's left of it. And I'm going to cut this leaf off. There we go. And you're going to use the super sticky dots again because we're gluing down ribbon and we really want it to hold. So it's going to look something like this when we're done. Right? So go ahead and you're going to put a dot on the top and on the bottom. And then I'm going to take it, and you work from the front. The 2 is on the bottom here, and you want the leaves going upwards. And you're going to wrap it around just, and you want it roughly centered, right? Just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this down, keeping in mind that there is, we might want a little bit more space in the bottom, but because this card is going, the corner's going all the way up like this, I'm going to do it even. I'm going to do everything even all the way around. So I'm just going to put on all my paper adhesive. And I'm coming around and I'm just like that. And I'm just gonna, and there's a little bit of a thread here, so I'm just gonna trim that off. Wouldn't even matter, but I saw it, so I'm taking it off. Okay, so I'm centering it top and bottom, side and side, side to side. I'm short. If I'm working on something, on a project, I always stand when I do this. This doesn't have to be super tight. I mean, make it a little tight, but it doesn't have to be super tight because we're gonna be putting things underneath. So this is gonna go right here, just like this, right? A little bit tucked underneath and a little, on the top here. So pay attention to what's going on here. And then this one is going underneath here like this, but overlapping, right? Just like that. And then our happy birthday is gonna go over that number 2, or where that number 2 was. But yeah, I think we'll go just like that. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one on first. And what you're gonna wanna do is, I think on this one we'll use, I think we'll use 2 puffy dots at the top, right? We're gonna use 1, because that will hold. Just need 1 here. And that's gonna get 1. Okay, and I'm just coming at it. Notice how I'm not committing and gluing this down. I'm sort of coming in here and getting this placed and not letting it stick down until I really figure out where I want it to go, and that's where I want it to go. So you've got 2 levels here. This is going at an angle. And it just makes for a more interesting card, and we're gonna do the same thing with this one, because then this one will be flat, elevated with the puffy dots. So I've got my fantastic sticky dot here, and I'll use 2 of these puffy dots. Okay, so I sort of look here to see what I'm doing here and what I'm doing here. And I'm just gonna slip this in here, just like that. I wanna get this one so it's underneath here. And I think I like the way that looks. So I'm just gonna glue that down. Look at how cute that is. All right. And these are relatively the same here. You've got a little more space here. And now we're just gonna glue this on top, and I'm gonna make this come up like this over the, so I'll sort of tuck that in, make sure that that's coming over that little leaf. It's fun to play with these leaves and do different things with them. And they're always different. Like this leaf is a little bit different than this card, but so I'm gonna put 4 of the puffy dots on here, and that should be plenty. I'm just gonna place my little happy birthday under that leaf. It's gonna come down right about, I'm gonna have to come over just a little bit more, probably right there. Okay, how cute is that? There. So that is card number 2. All right, now we're gonna work on card number 3, and I love this card. I love the yellow with the purple, and I just think it all works together. You wouldn't think it would work, but it works. And then the centerpiece on this sunflower. So, all right, so we're gonna get started here, and we just have 2 components here. We've got the large piece that we're gonna cut out and mount on our, paste on our cardstock, and then this, we're gonna make our embellishment here, which we'll do in a second. And then this, of course, is our little signature gem, and we'll do that later. So the first thing you wanna do is you wanna cut this out, and you're just trimming all the way around. Okay, there's that. That's all done. And we're gonna take this lovely amethyst purpley cardstock, and it has a little shimmer on it, and I just love it. And then just go ahead and, there we go. And now we're going to make the cute little embellishment that's going to go in the center. And I have the choice of Hello Sunshine, Happy Birthday, or the same image sort of in reverse. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Hello Sunshine. So go ahead and grab the larger round piece of glass that you have. And that's going to go just like this. And what we're going to do is, those of you who have made Craft Fantastic jewelry before, you know how to do this. You're going to work on a hard surface, and this is a little piece of scrap paper. You want plenty of salvage around the edge. And because it's round, I'm just going to squirt a blob in the center. And you want enough on here so that it oozes out the sides. And we're using Fantastic Glaze and Glue. It's this wonderful product that we sell. One of our customers calls it the secret sauce. It's the Fantastic Glaze and Glue, and this is really gives you the best results with this. You don't want to shake it. It has it doesn't yellow. It's acid free, and it really is. You really need this product in order to make our glass embellishments and jewelry. Okay, so you're going to squirt a blob on here. And as I said, you want enough, and I notice a lot of little air bubbles in here, but we're going to get rid of them because we're working on a hard surface. We're going to push down, and we want everything oozing out the sides. And what happens is that the air bubbles go all the way to the edge. And anytime anyone has trouble making this, it's always because they didn't use enough glaze and glue. And I'm just moving this piece around to clean it up. I don't move around the piece. There we go. And now we're just going to trim this off. And when you trim it, you want to sort of undercut, right? And I would trim this when it was completely dry. But because I'm showing you how to make this card, I've got to trim it when it's wet. Okay, there's our cute little centerpiece that's going to go right on top of the sunflower. It worked perfectly. Right there. Our purple ribbon, and we're going to make this little bow that goes across the bottom. And some of us tie nice bows, and it's tricky tying a bow. But what I want you to do is we're just going to take 2 loops. It's a little bit different than tying our shoes. And I want you to just tie it together just like this, right? Just like that. I'm going to show you one more time. You're going to take 2 loops, and you're just tying them in essentially a simple knot. Okay. And don't worry, we'll get it in place. We're just getting it together here. And you want to sort of move it around because you want the bow to be flat in the front, right? So I'm starting to tighten everything up. And my bows are not perfect every time. But notice how I start to pull this together, and you can kind of work it. And this is a great bow for cards. And now I'm just making the loops slightly smaller because they're a little larger than I wanted them. I'm still keeping the integrity of the knot. And you can kind of twist this around. So now it's starting to look a little bit like that bow. And I just tightened it up a lot. And I think that is going to work perfectly right there. And the key is what you want is the long pieces that normally hang down like this, you want them be in the back. So and the key to do that is you sort of loosen and tighten the knot and make the bow do what you want it to do. And that's just going to go right around the card just like that. All right, so I'm going to take I'm going to take a quarter of a jeweler's Fantastic Sticky Dot. And I'm just going to put it on the back here because this is really amazing stuff and it really holds. Because this is going to just sort of tack this into place. And just make a better card and something that's more secure. And again, the issue of peeling the little orange liner off. Okay, so look at where that knot is, right? And so I want to hit it on the bottom somewhere, but you could do it anywhere. I mean, it really doesn't matter. You want it roughly centered. And I'm just going to push that down right there, right? And that will hold that in place. And now what we have to do is we have to wrap this around the edges. So we're going to have to wrap this just like this. So what I do, I'm going to use one as a reference point, and we're going to put another fantastic sticky dot roughly on the back just like that. And now I know I just go across here and I know what size I want it to be. Okay. And I'm going to peel, but I'm going to work from the front. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to work from the front because you can't see what's going on in the front. So, and what I'll do is I'll do this one first because I want it to be straight, right? I'm not even looking at this one. And now I'm going to turn this around this way. And I'm looking, okay, I want it to sort of match the other one that I just did. And look at how cute that is. And then all I do is I just trim the ribbon off the back. And the sticky dots will, the fantastic sticky dots will hold this. Okay. So now I'm going to grab my card, which is my canvas. Okay. And now I'm going to glue this down, but it's raised up with the puffy dots. And I'm going to wait, definitely on this one, I'm going to weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. I'm going to weight the bottom because if I make it even, it's going to look actually like there's more space on the top. So it's just a slight difference. I'm just making a little more on the top than on the bottom, and I'm matching the sides up. And I'm going to put my puffy dots on. I'll first hit the corners because we know we have to have them in the corners. And I think I'll just do 3 across. I put them where I know I need them first, and then I kind of add to it. And I think we'll go 4 across on the sides, right? Okay, now you definitely need one here, because this is going to support when you're gluing this down, and it's also going to support it. So I'm going to take my fingers, right, and I'm going to place one on the front and one on the back. And that is going to tell me where I'm putting this dot, right? And that's going to support that. And then I'll throw a few more on here just to support this back. There we go, just like that. A lot of puffy dots. But who doesn't love a puffy dot? Okay. So now I'm just going to, remembering to match up side to side and weight the bottom a little bit, I'm gluing down my piece. And then I'm gluing in my Hello Sunshine. And I'll use a fantastic sticky dot for that. And when you're working with cards, you want to use the right adhesives. And if you're working with something that's really rigid, you want an adhesive that's flexible. And that's one of the reasons that this is so strong, is that it's very flexible, that it moves and it still has a tack to it. And it really holds things. And I'm just placing that right in the center, just like that. Okay, that is card number 3, and I'm going to do my little signature gem at the end. So that is card number 3. Okay, so now we're going to do card number 4, and this is super cute. This is a link tray here that we've threaded some ribbon through. And again, I love the purple with the green. I think it gives it a little, the green and the yellow, I think it gives it a little punch, and it picks up the purple in the flower. So we're going to get started. So we're going to start with our images. We have our images here. And this is for our glass embellishment, so we're gonna do that in just a second. So the first thing I wanna do is cut out our images. Okay, so we have the round piece, and then we have the piece underneath. Now the 4 is gonna go like this, and you're gonna grab a green, and then a brown, and we'll go ahead and glue those down. Okay, so I'm gonna make my little piece of glass here, and you're gonna grab your other small piece, and I think I'm going to do, maybe I'll do the purple. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do the purple. So go ahead, and when you trim your paper, you're going to trim it so you have plenty of stuff around the edge. You want plenty of salvage around the edge. And then I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper, and remember to work on a hard surface. And I'm just going to take my fantastic glaze and glue, and I want to squirt a blob in the center, just like that. There we go. And as I said, you want enough so it oozes out the sides. So now I'm just going to push down and let everything kind of ooze. And you can even see the air bubbles sort of traveling away. You don't need a Q-tip. You could use a paintbrush. I mean, when we first started, we used paintbrushes. And then I realized, oh, Q-tips actually work great. All right. And now you're just going to trim, trim, trim all the way around. Like that. And you want to trim it when it's dry typically. And then you have your little tray. And this is going to fit, these are bales, and we're going to thread the green ribbon through the bales, right? So we're going to thread the ribbon through the bales. And so you want it to look something like that. So you'll take a jeweler's dot or a fantastic sticky dot. You'll take a fantastic sticky dot, and you just place it in the tray. You burnish it down with your thumb. Yep. And then you want, I'm looking at this, and I want, make sure you get your image in here right side up, because I have done it other ways. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take another dot. Well, actually, what you're going to do is go ahead and thread this through. Okay. And sort of get the ribbon in place the way you like it. Because once it's down, you can't really rearrange the ribbon. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Right over that number 4. So you're going to go and put your dot on the 4. And you want it to grab the tray a little bit and a little bit of the ribbon. So I'm just going to take it and I'm centering it right over the top. And you can even pick it up and kind of push that into it. So pick it up and really work it onto the tray. And then you're just going to go around the sides, right? And you sort of figure out where that's going to go, and then you're just going to go right across. Okay, and then work from the front and do one side first, and then pull the other side, just like that. And this is very secure now. It's not going anywhere, and it can withstand a lot of wear and tear, and actually cards need to be pretty durable. You know, you want this adhesive to really hold up because you don't want someone to get a card that's not together. So this is going to go just like that. So I'm going to grab another card blank. And then I'm first going to place this just like this, and I'm weighting it a little bit on the bottom. And now be careful putting this adhesive on because you've got a lot of dimension in the front. So you're actually going to have to pick it up and hold on to it. There we go. Okay. And now you're going to place this on here. And just for interest, you're going to add a little dimension to this with our puffy dots. I love to say puffy, puffy, puffy. And again, I'm putting them where I need them. And you got a lot of space here. So I think we're gonna load up on our dots here because I think you need the structure here. And I'll put 2 in the center. And then I'm just going to carefully place this, centering it side to side, making sure that I'm leaving some of the decorative back piece exposed on the top. And there you have card number 4. Okay, so now we're going to do the last card in this little group here, number 5, and it's so cute. Hello, sunshine. You know, what couldn't be cuter? And with this pendant here, and with our sunflower theme and our purple. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to grab our images, and I'm going to set these aside because we are using, we'll make that later. And I think because I did Hello Sunshine on this one, I'll do Happy Birthday this time. And there we go. And now we're going to glue this on here, and we're also going to glue this guy on here. We'll go like that. So now we're going to make our glass embellishment, and this is one of our long trays at Craft Fantastic, and I love this shape. I mean, you can really do a lot with it. And on this one I use the yellow-purple background, and I think this time I'm going to go with the purple background. So again, you want enough space on here that you can the glue can ooze out the edges. Now this is a larger piece of glass, and you want to make sure that you, because it's a square, anytime you have corners, you have to hit the corners because the glue, the Fantastic Glazing Glue will not go, the secret sauce, the magic sauce will not go to the corners. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 Fantastic sticky dots in here because you need a little bit more for it to hold, but these really hold. I mean, you can wear them, and notice how I'm burnishing down with my thumb. Really get in there, and burnish. And then the tricky part, taking the orange liner off. That's the hard part, right? Okay, and then I'm just gonna take it and place it in just like that. And you can see how that's all gonna work here. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my card blank. And remember, the bump comes up facing you, and I'm just gonna match up the corners and use my plastic bone folder, but they work great. And I'm just midpoint, and I'm just burnishing down as hard as I can. And now we're gonna create our beautiful little piece here. And you're gonna take your ribbon, your last piece of ribbon, and thread it through. And kind of get it the way you like it a little bit. Look at it and see, okay, if this is gonna go up here like this, it looks good. And take a fantastic sticky dot. And it's gonna go right over and what I'm gonna do is you place it on, and I'm holding it in my hands because I'm gonna push the cardstock up against it, but I've got it roughly where I want it, and I'm really pushing that in place. And that's gonna really help hold this down. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to figure out where our ribbon's going. And the first one, I'm just gonna do one. And see how it folds over? You have to check to see where it's folding over. So it's not gonna go down here, it's gonna go up a little higher than you would think. And then what you can do is you can match the other one to about the same place on the other side. So go ahead and take the liner off. And then make sure you do this from the front. So you're gonna take this, and you're not pulling too tightly on here, but you're just pushing that on the back. And then you're gonna pull this one around and see where you like it. And this one you're gonna pull a little bit tighter, and then just attach it to the fantastic sticky dot that's on the back of your piece. And then just go ahead and trim it off. And then what you're gonna do, and this is gonna hold this embellishment onto your card, you're going to actually take a fantastic sticky dot and attach it to the cardstock, and then also to the tray embellishment. And then you're gonna pull this off. And then apply your paper tape. And you can put a little bit on the ribbon. Okay. And hold it in your hand because there's a lot of dimension now on the front, and it's kind of heavy and it's flopping around. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just centering it side to side, and I'm weighting it a little bit on the bottom. You know, I'm giving it a little bit more, and I'm placing it down center, just like that. And now you could go like this if you wanted to. That would be, look at how cute that is. But I'm gonna do it this way, and it comes off to the side a little bit, right? So I'm gonna use my super sticky dots. or not my super sticky, my puffy dots. Puffy dots, puffy dots. And I think on this one, I'm actually gonna put a couple of extra in the center, just for stability and also because it's sticking on the ribbon. Okay, and then I'm just gonna place this on my card, just like that. Look at how cute. And then we're gonna, now we're gonna do our signature gems. Okay, so now you have all your fantastic cards, and you want to let people know that you made them. I mean, these are beautiful cards and that they're made with love. So let's go through and kind of figure out which colors we want to use. And I think on this one, I want to use a purple one that says handmade on it. Now, actually, because there's words on there, I'm going to do the purple heart. Okay, so I'm going to use that one for this one. This one, I think I'm going to use a green heart. This one, I think I'm going to use a purple handmade to really bring out the purple. We're using a lot of purple on this one. And this one, I'll use a green handmade. And then on this one, I think I will use yellow handmade. Yeah, I'll use a yellow handmade. There we go. Okay, and again, the way you do this is you work on a piece of scrap paper, and you've got your little pieces. These are tiny rounds, and these are great. They're fun to work with, but they're a little, you know, tricky. You know what I mean? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little blob on here. And the key is you don't want to use too much because these are pretty tiny. But you make sure you use enough that it's oozing out the sides. And I'm just pushing down here. And again, if you get any of the fantastic glaze and glue on the top of the glass, let it dry. Don't try to wipe it off. It doesn't work. Okay. All right. And you, of course, at home, you would let these dry. And I'm going to trim, trim, trim all the way around, undercutting ever so slightly. There we go. And then what you want to do is, and I like to, I don't cut all the way through because I want them to stay on the paper. That's the way to, you know, keep them safe, right? And we're going to put our little signature on. And I could do it here. I could do it centered. I think I actually will do it over here, right? You could even do it up here. That would be cute right there. That would be a nice spot. And I'm just gonna peel that off. And again, everything's tiny, so it's a little harder to work with. But the size is great. And I'm just gonna put my little signature gem right here. And now I'm gonna do the rest of them. All right, so we now have our beautiful cards here with our signature gems. And look at how great they turned out. I mean, And again, I would say if you're into it, change it up. You know, you don't have to do the exact same thing that we did. But I love these. And I love this one. Well, I love them all. I mean, that's the problem. And people always think I'm crazy. They're like they say, well, you love this one and that one, but I kind of do. But these this is our Sunny Flower Fantastic Art Card Kit. And you can buy it at craftfantastic.com. And I just want to remind everybody that we really think you guys are great and we really appreciate all of your support in business, and have a fantastically creative day.